Hi, I'm Scott Hoppy, and today we're going to talk about how work-life balance is done wrong and the simple solution to do it right. I use a simple framework called the F5. And before we dive into that, let's talk a little bit about me and our firm Y Blue. Y Blue is a 100% distributed accounting firm. And a distributed accounting firm means that there are no physical offices and everyone collaborates remotely and digitally together. This is a framework that you'll most often see, or its birthplace is really inside of the tech industry, and that's where the term's been coined. Um, I started Y Blue just about 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago, because I wanted to create the kind of firm I always wanted to work for. And that was one that was completely forward thinking on the digital front and allowed me to work from anywhere that I may be. You know, as much as this being able to work remotely with everyone is a new concept, perhaps for accountants, it's YBlue is actually very traditional in many ways. It has a traditional structure. There's some very successful parts of the traditional model, like the client centric uh, focus of an accounting firm, getting deliverables out, high quality of work, researching, documenting, all that's there, all the same. The difference is how we work together, how we communicate, and the challenges that come with being fully remote versus fully distributed, really, versus being completely office based. And it's not that office based isn't without its challenges. But for example, when you're completely remote, we have to work we have to work from a different default position than if you're in an office. So, for instance, in an office, the main issue is you're in a high communication area that comes with high distraction. Flip that around to a remote work environment, and you end up in a low distraction environment, but low communication. So when you look at the distributed firm, we're trying to move ourselves up the communication band. But when you're in an office, you're trying to help reduce distractions. Um, just think about, I guess, if you're in an office with other people, maybe you're in an open office plan. You know, when are you most productive? Morning times, when no one else is there, when you go home and open the laptop up. That's the distraction issue. So working 100% remote, what it allows us to do is it allows everyone here to work in the best environment for themselves. They get to tailor it exactly as they want it, the exact temperature, the exact monitors, the exact setup, so they can be and show up as their best selves. So now let's shift over to me personally, and yeah, I've been leading out Y Blue. I've dedicated a lot of time here, but I've also, I do quite a few speaking engagements. I'll go back to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. That's where I graduated every year, and I talk to the Masters in Taxation course. I speak to other doctorate and master course level classes about business, work environments, etc. And been awarded 40 under 40 several times, and I'm going for another one. But even before that, really, when I look at my path to getting to here, it started off working in small business. I was a sales manager there, and then leaving that and going into accounting. Um, I was an audit intern at EY. I started my career at PwC in San Francisco. Then I moved in-house to an architecture firm, and ultimately opened up Y Blue. And each experience has really elevated and helped my own personal growth tremendously, and helped get the vision to where it needed to be to run a firm today. But this is to kind of sum it up. If I was retired, I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing now. Another way to put it, I used to dream of winning the lottery. And when I said if I won the lottery, I would start my own practice, well, I didn't have to win the lottery and I got to start it. And I love what I do. And I love the people I work with. And I love that I get to spend the time with you today to talk a bit about how we do what we do. So let's turn back to work-life balance and look at this picture in the background. And here's a quote. This is coming from LinkedIn. What would the first day of vacation be without an RSM beach bag and my computer? Happy 4th of July. At the time that I made this presentation, it's about mid-July, so this is real current, and we've protected this partner's identity and didn't disclose their name. Uh, but when I look at this, I shake my head. Like, this isn't work-life balance. Where's the balance? I'm like, oh my goodness, you're going on vacation with your computer? Oh no, and um, but the nice part about the framework that I'm gonna share with you is there's room for this. There's room for this. This is okay. The difference is you're going to be intentional about knowing that this is okay and understanding that this is the message, this is the tone that you're setting at the top to your other employees, that to go on vacation, you need to bring your computer. You got to lead by example. And if this is the example you want to lead because this is the life you want your people to have, you may want to be checking in with them to make sure that's the life they want to have too. Like I said, we're not here to hold them out and say anyone's bad. This is just an example of what's wrong with the accounting industry. The fact that it's okay to go on vacation, and what would vacation be without your computer? Well, it would be a vacation in my book. So let's move on from there and start kind of gearing ourselves up for the F5, and let's play a game. It's called the color game. And what I'm going to ask you to do, doesn't matter where you are right now, is look around the room. And I'm going to ask you to look around the room. I'm going to pick a color. I want you to count as many items as you can in 5 seconds that's that exact color. Because we're why blue, I'm going to have you look up blue. So you have 5 seconds starting now to look up everything that's blue in your room. Start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, do you have your number? Okay, hold on to it. Tell me, how many things did you count that were red? Yeah, you weren't counting red, were you? Your focus was so much on blue that you ignored everything else. And that's our lesson here. I like this quote because it captures it. You cannot outrun your blind spots. When you're only focused on blue, your blind spot's every other color. We're going to talk about the F5. The F5 is going to give you that framework so you don't have blind spots. You're going to be able to not just focus on blue, but you're going to be able to focus on red, yellow, and any other color you need to focus on. And what that focus is going to do for you is it's going to fix this work-life balance issue. And it's going to give you the tool that you need to have a balanced life and have the communication with your staff, your team, and yourself, maybe even more importantly, your spouse, about what it is that work-life balance is for you. So that framework that we're going to explore today is called the F5. And the F5 framework is a holistic view on how you spend your time so that you can align it with your values. And your values are represented by 5 buckets called the F5. So let's look at those 5 buckets that are our values. The F5 framework, it's faith, family, fitness, friends, and finance. To give you an example of what goes into each one, faith could be spiritual, like church, it's community, it's volunteering. Family, And that includes your immediate family, like parents, spouse, children. Fitness is diet, exercise, and sleep. Friends are your non-family members that enrich your life. And finance, that's the spot that's easy, right? That's the business and career goals. So using that information, let's think about this. And I like this quote as well from Noah. It's easy to get what you want when you know what you want. Think back to that color game, right? You focused all on blue, what'd you get? You found blue. What did you not get? Any of the other colors. When you have your F5, that's making it a bit more holistic, so you're seeing everything. But what we want to do is know what our F5 order is for ourselves, so we know what to get. We know what we're going out for, because it's easy to get what you want when you know what you want. Let's find out what you want. Exercise 1. What is your ideal F5 order? And I put it in gray there, the F5 buckets for you to reference. Go ahead and spend a couple minutes and you can pause this video and list out your order of the F5. All right, hit pause now. Come back when you're ready. All right, welcome back. I'm gonna assume you made that pause, and now let's move on to the second exercise. Now we have our ideal F5 order. Hold on to that. Exercise 2. What is your actual F5 order? This one's a bit more interesting because you need to reflect on actually how you're spending your time. You may have put your family at the top of the list, but in reality, you're choosing to spend your time with more of your friends than your family. So is on your actual order, is family really at the top compared to your ideal, or is it friends, or is it finance? Finance is a big one. I think that's that's the one that gets sneaky and comes up to number one, even though it's not in our ideal number one. So you think about the times when you're supposed to go out to dinner with your friends, everything's scheduled up, and then at 5 p.m. something. Let's make it nicer. 4:30 p.m. something comes up at the office, and now all of a sudden you have to ignore your plans and you have to cancel and you have to bail on some of your commitments there. Important commitments to you, but you let finance overrun that. Or you have your kids' soccer practice and you want to be there for it, but again something comes up. What overrides what? That's how we're going to get to the actual order. Actual is not your ideal. Actual is reflecting on what you're actually doing, how you're actually spending your time. So again, I'm going to go ahead and say hit pause and reflect for a moment on what your actual F5 order is. And then when we come back, we'll take a look at mine. Go ahead and hit pause now. And welcome back. Now that we have your actual order, we have your ideal order. Let's see what we can do when we compare the two. This is my ideal versus actual. In my ideal, let's step back actually for a second. When I did this, I initially heard the F5 framework on a podcast. I think I was zipping around San Francisco. I was on my bike. I had some earplugs in, and I heard the podcast, and I thought I saved it, and I could never find it again. But it was sticky, this concept, and even after I didn't hear it for a while, I could always recall the F5, and once I had that set in stone, I kept it with me, and I was on a flight. We were coming back from Japan. I didn't go to Japan. I was flying through Japan, and I decided, let's try to write this down. Let's write down my ideal order, which I did. So here we go. I got my faith, my family, my fitness, friends, and finance. And then I wrote down next to it, what's my actual order? How am I actually spending my time? If I'm really honest with myself, how's it going? And my order was finance, fitness, family, friends, faith. In my actual order, upon reflection, I saw it was really easy. Like finance was the number one. I mean, if I was stressed out, I would skip a run. I would skip friends. I would skip anything I needed to do to take care of that. And when I looked at that, when I was the most out of balance and I was heavy on finance, I never felt good. I wasn't taking care of myself. Maybe I wasn't eating right. I wasn't spending time with the right people. I wasn't feeling full. I wasn't feeling balanced. And I was shocked. I was shocked to see that my number one in my ideal was my number five in my actual. And that my number five in my actual was my number one. My number five in the ideal finance was actually my number one in actual. I was misaligned. What having this down for me helped me do was realign myself. Once I realigned myself, I felt better. I was more productive. I felt like I had better connections with people. I was able to build the firm faster. I was able to work with people more effectively. I only got results and benefits by being in alignment. And the thing that benefited the most in it, besides the top four, right, is finance. Finance didn't get neglected by becoming number five. Finance actually moved ahead. That was the power for me. And there's something to recognize in accounting when we look at this. Because the number one thing that I would start thinking about if I was you is, hey, we have busy season, Scott. Sometimes finance has to be number one. If my ideal is number five and finance is number one because it's busy season, what am I supposed to do? And that's okay. Your actual order and your ideal order, they can be different. Your actual order is fluid. We have busy seasons. We have workloads that we have to take care of. There's things to address. There's points in time when finance should be number one. It's at all those points when it shouldn't be number one that it's not. And having these orders down, it's not about being misaligned all the time. It's about shifting quickly from being misaligned to being aligned. It's about going from busy season when finance is number one to shifting out and making sure finance is back in its appropriate spot. For me, that's number five. Knowing my ideal order and knowing where I'm at day to day, being able to reflect and ask myself, what's my F5 like? How am I doing it? I could do this daily. I could do this weekly. I could do this monthly. It helps me reprioritize appropriately. And sometimes I don't even know why I don't feel 100% about something, and then I can think back on the F5 and I go, oh, I need to do a little bit more on fitness. I need to make sure I'm sleeping better. I need to make sure I'm eating better. And when I do that, everything else falls in place. So I think